Hello everyone and welcome to a very exciting new vlog. Well, it's more of a sit down video, a little chit chat that I thought was probably overdue. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen that I've announced that I'm pregnant. So I'm completely over the moon. We both are. It's everything that we could ever have prayed for, wished for, dreamed of, and it's still surreal, but it's just such a happy phase of life, and it's also come at such a point in time where it's been a very stressful time in life. Many of you will know that I was studying at the beginning of this year. I was doing a postgraduate course through WITS in cyber law, which I loved, and we fell pregnant while I was doing the course. So I had to navigate first trimester while I was working full-time and while I was studying and submitting research papers and whatnot. So that was a little hair-raising, but I can't tell you how blessed I feel. And yeah, so anyway, on my Instagram, I had put a little question box asking if you had any questions for me, because I thought I would answer them in this video. So I can start off by telling you that I'm currently 21 weeks. So I know I announced it late, but there was a lot going on. I was studying, Ryan was studying. There's been a lot going on with our friends and family that a lot of it has been very sad. So, you know, it was just about timing, and we know that we've been through another lockdown and the riots, and you know, there wasn't a better time to share the news until now, and I just personally thought the time was right now. And we've passed our 20-week scan, so we've got you know, the safety clearance as much as possible as we can at this point. So you know, the time is now to chat about it. So as you'll have understood then from me saying I'm 21 weeks, I'm past halfway and I only have a little bump, but in the past week it has really popped, so I'm starting to show, and that's also very exciting. So yeah, it's all happening now, and we're starting to order all our baby items, and it's, you know, there's this whirlwind of a completely new stage of life, and it's something that I've always envisioned. I've always envisioned being a mom, and I can only just pray that everything from here on out goes as swimmingly as it has been up until this point. First off, I want to say thank you so much for all the love that you shared on my announcement, the picture on Instagram. It was just so beautiful to read through all those messages and comments that everybody left, and the most common question that was asked was, how are you feeling? And I'm feeling great, but I have been told that the second trimester is the happy trimester, so that I must also enjoy it and capitalize on it. The first trimester was a little bit hair-raising, as I mentioned, because I was under a lot of pressure, under work pressure, and also studying, which is obviously self-inflicted, but something that I very much wanted to do. We had also planned to start trying then, so it wasn't a shock to my system. You know, I think first-time pregnancy will always be a shock to your system, but it was, you know, it was intended to happen during that time period. So I don't know, yeah, you can call it self-inflicted if you want. Luckily, I did have morning sickness, so that's unlucky, but the lucky side of that aspect is the fact that it kicked in at 4 p.m. every day, so I managed to get through my work, the majority of my my day job, without any kind of issues whatsoever. And then the nausea would kick in in the evening. So from 4 p.m. onwards, I would start struggling a little bit. I also struggled with car rides. I've never suffered with motion sickness. I was always that child that read a book in the car right from the moment we left the driveway all the way down to Durban. So motion sickness has never been an issue to me, but now all of a sudden motion has changed things a little bit. So I had that to navigate. Obviously, us living in Hartbeespoort this year, we do pop back to Joburg as and when to see my family, and on the occasions that we did pop back, it was not great. Also, we just decided that we were going to stick with my medical team. That was my original medical team. They know my history. I just felt most comfortable with that. So we do pop back to Joburg for medical appointments as well. So that's also, you know, difficult to navigate, but definitely worth doing. I'm quite happy with that. I wouldn't change it for the world. And then the other side of the first trimester that I also experienced was a bit of tiredness. I'm not one for napping whatsoever, and yet I would find myself crashing at about midday, and sometimes just needing a 20-minute nap just to try and compose myself. The weekends I did lots of napping as well, trying to catch up on my energy, and also early evenings. So it was tricky studying and needing the hours in the evening, but suffering from nausea and vomiting, and then also needing to get into bed early because I was just too exhausted to do anything else. But luckily it all came together swimmingly. The course went really, really well, so I can't complain much, and I know a lot of women have far worse experiences with first trimester. Mine was really mild in comparison, and it didn't stop me from doing anything. So I'm very, very lucky in that aspect, and I want to say thank you so much for asking. I'm feeling great. My energy is back. I'm not napping anymore, and I'm back to being active and getting my gym in and whatnot. So I want to actually increase how much gym I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of Pilates and things that they recommend that are really good for birthing later on. So yeah, I'm feeling great, so I'm really, really happy in that respect. So Sinead asked a few questions, the first of which was did you have any bad food aversions or morning sickness? So I think I've already touched on the morning sickness, but in terms of food aversions, yes. And unfortunately the trip to Paternoster that I took with Ryan and our friends Mike and Jen, while we were down there, you know, you're by the seaside, it's a lot of seafood restaurants, and I love seafood, and unfortunately the pregnancy effect started kicking in while I was down there, and I'm just not coping well with fish even to this day. So I feel fine, but the food aversions are a real thing. So yeah, I would say it's fish at the moment, but any sorts of funny smells or whatever would just set me off, and I would just, you know, I'd start just gagging. It was horrible. It was really horrible. But again, I think a lot of women suffer a lot worse, so I really don't want to complain too much. Sinead also asked, how did you first know? So we were planning, and we were very lucky in that we were successful very early on. So how did I first know? I think I was just completely paranoid, to be honest with you. That month I had taken ovulation tests. I was tracking. I'd been tracking for quite some time, even before we started trying, just so that I knew what my body was doing at all points in time. And I was taking my temperature as well, because that's one of the things that they recommend when you're trying to conceive, because you can pick up your ovulation or post-ovulation from your temperature. So I've been doing that, and then I'd noticed that my temperature had stayed high. So that's an indicator. It's not foolproof, but it's an indicator that you could have been successful in that month. And then I just was going nuts. I needed to know, and that 2-week waiting period is just enough to drive you dilly. So anyway, I ended up taking a pregnancy test probably way too early. I think it was about 4 or 5 days too early, but the pregnancy test was already positive. I sent Ryan a picture, and he didn't want to get too excited because he knew that it was too early and that you need to give it a few days before you know, the accuracy of the test will be correct. But I just couldn't wait anymore, so I took that day, I took the next day, I took the next day, and eventually he just started laughing at me because they were all coming up positive. It was a fine second line, but there definitely was a second line, even though I was testing so early. So Sinead also asked, if I am having a girl, will I be sending it to HRS? So that was the school that both Sinead and I went to, Catholic girls' school, and I really don't know at this point. I mean, obviously it depends on the sex, and secondly, we're living out here in Heartsease at the moment, but it's a temporary scenario, so I don't know what the future holds for us. I would love to send, if I have a girl, I would love to send her to a Catholic girls' school, just because that is the experience that I had, and I really loved school. I loved the whole experience. I loved being at a girls' school. So at this point I have no idea, but we'll see. I would definitely not take it off the cards. So on that topic, Kaz, who is another friend of mine from school, asks, are you planning on finding out if it's a girl or a boy? And I had a few of these questions, so yes, we are planning on finding out. In fact, we did find out very early on. So if you don't know, Ryan is a doctor, and he snuck me into his hospital when I was 11 weeks, so it was before my 12-week scan, and he could pick up on the ultrasound the gender. We had time on our hands, which was quite lovely, because it was one evening when the hospital wasn't busy, and we just sat and looked at the ultrasound and watched baby, and just, it was the loveliest experience because we weren't rushed. It wasn't an appointment or anything where they check, okay, you're done, good to go. So that was really special. So we've known since then, and it's subsequently been confirmed twice by the specialists. So yeah, we know. I think I need to do a gender reveal for you, don't I? I need to cook up some good ideas to do a great gender reveal for you, because I think you'll share in the excitements, and I know you are excited, so it's so lovely to be able to share that. So I must just plan exactly how to do that. So first things first, let me announce and answer these questions, and then secondly, let me share the gender with you, and let's get excited together. I see all of you as basically the honorary aunties or fairy godmothers of this baby, so I definitely know that you are going to be excited with me. So Camille asks, how did it happen? The natural way. I hope that answers your question. Gia asks whether I've had any weird pretty cravings, and I have. I'm definitely more of a savory kind of person, and this pregnancy, all I wanted is sweet things. So whether that's frozen yogurts or cake or sweets or fruits or anything of the sorts, that's all I wanted. And to the point that Ryan even had to pop out to the petrol station the one evening before curfew to go and pick up a jive, because you know those strawberry jives are just, and when you're craving sweet things, those are the best. But we've also made a routine habit of having like coffee and cake on the weekends, because then I'll save my sweet craving for a piece of cake until the weekends, and then we'll either pop out or I'll make something. So I've been making, you know, apple crumbles and granadilla cake and all sorts of yummy things. I've also been loving biscuits, basically anything sweet, which is very uncharacteristic for me, but it's been very, very enjoyable. So forceps asks whether it's true that one must avoid pork while pregnant. I really have no idea. I don't eat pork, so I would definitely recommend that you ask your doctor because I have no idea. Sorry. So I have also shared a pregnancy announcement on my blog, so I'll leave that linked down below and on the screen. So you can take a look there. I've written a little bit about just where my head's at the moment, what I'm thinking about, what I'm currently planning, and all that good stuff. But if you've got any more questions, please let me know in the comments and I'll answer them in the comments. I couldn't wait to share this with you, and I couldn't wait to answer these questions and just capture this moment in time, because it's very, very special, and the positivity that I've had in response to this news has just been incredibly special too. So thank you so much. I can't thank you enough, really. It's been so kind, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it answers a couple of your questions. Would you like to see more pregnancy things? I mean, there'll be bits and pieces, but you know me, I like my fashion and beauty content, so there'll definitely be more of that as well. So anyway, I just want to wish you a wonderful week, and I will see you next week with my next video. Love you. Goodbye.